A Big Bold Beautiful Journey is a romance film that follows David and Sarah. They're two single folks who meet at a wedding and immediately spark attraction to one another. After dismissing the idea of seeing each other, the two of them are sent on a trek where they quite literally confront the past and get to know each other in the process. So this is a rom-com that uses fantastical elements to send these two characters on a journey that fuses two very real journeys we should all be familiar with. The first is simply the journey of life. It's about the life experiences that have had a lasting impact on us, not just the positives, but also the negatives. This movie dives into how we need to face them in order to get over them and build the confidence we need to get the things we want in life. And then the other journey is, of course, just the world of dating. It's about the journey we share with another person, the act of getting to know them, learning about the things that have shaped who they are now, welcoming them into our life, and building memories with them. So David and Sarah's Big Bold Beautiful Journey here is just a combination of the two, but each of their life experiences have shown different cracks in their individual journeys. In each case, it's been a journey to accepting the things that aren't perfect, whether that means coming to terms with what we've done or embracing the people and opportunities that enter our lives even when they don't completely satisfy us. This ties into their journey into the past, where they're able to see themselves from the outside, giving them the space to recognize how their traumas and shortcomings have been holding them back. But this is all told through a fantasy story. These characters are sent on this journey through impossible means. They meet seemingly magical entities, and they walk through doors with portals in them. The fantastical nature adds a bit of charm that reflects the sparkly feelings people tend to have toward a new romance. It's exciting, and it seems like there's a world of infinite possibilities with the two of you at the center of it all. So starting with the positives, one of the things that this movie does really well is speaking to how relationships, more than anything, tend to just fill the void of loneliness. That's one of the more mentionable things about these two. Their talk about doing things alone and whether or not they actually prefer it that way. That's something that a lot of people don't like to admit they get from relationships, is just the fact that they have company of any sort. And the movie has a solid soundtrack. Some of the songs really set the mood well. This is especially mentionable since there wasn't really much for a score. It's also got a couple laughs, really just when David goes to the car rental agency at the beginning. This scene was really funny, it was really great, and it really leads you to believe that the rest of the movie will be too. So really, that's about it for the positives. The movie unfortunately loses the charm pretty quickly because of how very cliche and melodramatic it is. Starting with the dialogue, sometimes it is very stilted and stagey. This movie is pretty Shakespearean in that the characters are very mushy. This is not even close to how people talk or behave. I get that it's a movie, it's about fictional characters, but it takes place in the modern age with modern themes, so it's hard to overlook how very unrealistic these characters are behaving. Like when they first meet, they very quickly start talking about things that absolutely no people ever talk about that soon. Like they're saying things like, "Oh, do you believe in marriage? I don't want to hurt you, person I met 5 minutes ago." I'm sorry, but if somebody who I just met started talking like that in the first couple conversations, I'm gonna be pretty quick to abort that encounter and go tell my friends that I just met somebody from a different century. There's lots of sappy dialogue like that. The movie tries to navigate this by being self-aware. Sometimes characters will address how very Shakespearean their dialogue is, as if that makes it any less sappy. As far as movie romances go, these two just don't really have the on-screen chemistry needed to make you really root for them. Both Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie deliver with the material given to them, and they're certainly not the worst screen combo, but the sparks don't fly, they just don't fit around each other like a glove. So the movie relies pretty heavily on their raw star power more than anything. To make things worse, the movie is pretty sluggish. The slower pacing is meant to give space to the emotional scenes, but most of them are not as touching as the movie thinks. That choice is echoed by the score, which is mostly pretty absent to let the dialogue do its job. It's a more earnest approach as opposed to drenching everything in weepy strings, but in this case, it kind of just made things worse. The scenes where there should be emotional weight, they're a little bit emotional, but they just don't really have the weight, so the lack of a score kind of just makes everything feel hollow, and dare I say, kind of boring. Really, the scenes that could have been the most emotional, like in the climax of the movie, they're kind of tame. It's not even that they don't emotionally hit, it's almost like they're not even trying to hit you that hard. When you consider the circumstances that each character is in when they have their final encounters, these could have been heartbreaking, but they just settle for being a little bit sad and soft. So yeah, there's not really much to say about this movie. It's not big or bold, and it's more cute than it is beautiful. I would call this dollar store La La Land. You know you're in for a bad ride when during the movie, you check your watch hoping that things are wrapping up, and then you realize that there are 45 minutes left. So overall, this movie was just lacking. It's sometimes cute, but it's pretty sappy, predictable, and sluggish, and it's definitely sponsored by Burger King. This is for people who watch movies through rose-colored lenses and would never bat an eye at romance films that hum familiar tunes and have big stars. If you love classic rom-coms with formulaic stories, you might enjoy this. Otherwise, I cannot recommend this. There's just not enough here to give the movie legs. Thanks for watching this review. If it brought you any value at all, please give it a like. It really does help the channel grow. I will see you next week with my review of Eleanor the Great.